But in antiquity, a nation, like tribes, shared common language, history, and polity. What separates these two symbiotic and at times competing ways of thinking about connectivity. Genesis has its origins in the thinking about tribe. In fact, one could say that Genesis is the beginning of the tribe. The first two books of the Bible differentiate the difference between family and nation stories. Genesis is a saga, a family story. Notice that the conflict in the book of Genesis is local or familial, such as Jacob and Esau, Sodom and Gomorrah, or Shechem. Contrast that to the story of Exodus. Exodus is a national story. The main conflicts are the people of Egypt and the Hebrews, the people of Pharaoh and the people of the Lord and Moses. Abraham is the father of the family, but Moses is the founder of the nation. The role of genealogies plays a prominent place in the book of Genesis because it is about building family identities. The genealogy answers the question, who are your people? At the same time, particularly in a traditional agrarian culture, these documents function as a valve system, controlling the water of social movement. You are able to move based on who your people are. The role of genealogies is not only there in the earliest periods of Hebrew life, it comes back in a new way. One might think of the role of genealogies for the Jews in the Persian period, when social dislocations from the fall of Jerusalem in 587 and the deportation to Babylon of large parts of the population accented the question, who are your people? The genealogy is a key literary document in answering that question. But if the family, the extended family and tribe, is the social organization of Genesis, what are the rules of engagement? Marriage is one of the key elements and markers of the tribe and family development. The book of Genesis accents that there are good marriages and bad marriages. Let's look at how it does that. Genesis accents the need to marry inside the group. Anthropologists would call this endogamy, marriage inside a group. Isaac and Jacob are both chided to find appropriate wives from the right kinship group. However, sometimes there is marriage outside of the kinship group. In the book of Genesis, this is discouraged. Now, just as there are insides and outsides, there are also levels of marriage. One level of marriage is the marriage as the wife. The wife may have other wives to contend with, as we see in the story of Rachel and Leah. But there are also levels underneath that. Whereas wives come in the first, the second, and third categories, you also have the concubine noted in Judges, and you have the slave. Hagar is going to be the slave. So we have marriages of types and levels. Another element that we see in the book of Genesis that provides an interesting backdrop to the biography of Moses is the emergence of Egypt as the designated other. Designated other may seem like a strange category, but in every group formation, you have an us and a them. An important part of the them in Genesis and Exodus is